Hi, fourth graders. So this video is to review our long division. I'm going to take you through the steps that we practiced in class this year, our family steps, our dad, mom, sister, brother. So looking at this problem, first of all, notice that my 3 is in the divisor. So I'm going to be looking immediately over here to the numbers that are in the dividend. And I'm going to check and see, does 3 go into 7? Because if it does, I know I'm on the right track. And it does, so I'm going to stick with that 7. I might even underline it just to know where I'm at. Okay, so let's do our best dad voices. How many times does 3 go into 7? So thinking about how many times, or 3 times what, will get me close to 7 without going over. And that is 2. So I'm going to put the 2 up at the top there. So remember that mom always uses the number that you just wrote down. So when we move to our next step, mom multiply, we're taking 2 times 3, and then whatever that equals, which equals 6, we put down there. So always remembering that mom takes the number you just wrote down. And I think we talked about how mom might say, you just had it, or we just talked about that, is something that you might hear mom say a lot. So I just wrote that down. 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, then we'll go ahead and make our line below, and we are on to sister. So remember, sister subtract, and remembering that whenever we're dividing numbers, we're going for a smaller answer. So if you ever get confused and you're not sure if you should add or subtract here, think about, well, what will take you to a smaller answer since we're dividing? And that would be to subtract. So we'll go ahead and subtract 7 minus 6 equals 1. Remember, you're only subtracting the problem that you've set up here. You're not worrying about these other numbers. Okay, now we have to make sure that we did that correctly. So we're going to compare. We're looking at this 1 and we're comparing it with the number that's outside here, with the divisor. We ask ourselves, is 1 less than 3? It is, so that means we're okay. We chose a big enough number up here, we can keep going with our problem. Cat step is done. Remember, poor brother has to be at the end, even after the cat. Brother bring down. The other thing we always feel sorry about for brother is that he only gets to bring down one number at a time. So even though he probably wants to do all these, he has to stick with just one number. So we bring down the 2 like that. So now we have a 12 underneath here. And in my opinion, this is the hardest step to remember in long division. You're back to dad, but it's confusing. It looks different. So remember, dad always starts with a divisor out here. But instead of saying, how many times does 3 go into something over here, we're just going to stick with the number that's at the farthest bottom. So right down here. So let's say it together. How many times does 3 go into 12? All right, so thinking about 3 times what equals 12? 3 times 4 equals 12. So this is nice, right? We have it. It's even, no big deal. Writing the 4 up here. This is another common mistake. Where do you write that number? Remember, all of the answers to dad's questions get written up here so that mom can use them in a minute when we have mom multiply. So I put my 4 up there. Speaking of mom multiply, remember, she always uses the number that you just wrote down. So there's that 4. We go out to the divisor again. 4 times 3 equals 12. Okay, moving right along here, sister subtract. 12 minus 12 equals 0. You could put 2 zeros down there, but you really don't have to. You can just put 1 0 there. Okay, next is cat. Remember, cat compare. Is this digit less than this digit? Is 0 less than 3? It is, so we're good to go. We don't really write anything for that. It's just to check and make sure that we are on the right track. If this number was larger than the divisor, remember, we'd have to go back. We'd have to do some erasing and find where we didn't go big enough on the number up here. Okay, poor brother, here he is at the end again. But look, he gets to go all the way down to that line. So remember, when you are bringing down numbers, when you're doing brother bring down, it goes all the way down until it bumps on that bottom subtraction line. Okay, so now we have a 4 here. And again, this is the trickiest part because you have to go back to your dad step. How many times, but how many times what? How do you know? Well, remember, he always uses this. It's always the divisor and then the bottom number here. So how many times does 3 go into 4? Okay, so 3 goes into 4 one time. And remembering, I'm always writing that number at the top. Then mom multiply right away the number we just wrote down. 1 times 3 equals 3. Okay, so sister subtract, 4 minus 3 equals 1. Cat compare, is 1 less than 3? Yes, we're okay there. And then brother bring down, whee, all the way down to this bottom section. And it is a 1 that we're bringing down. Okay, after brother, what comes next? We're back to the top, right? We're back to dad. How many times does 3 go into 11? Yes. How many times does 3 go into 11? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, so I'm going to put a 3 up here. And remember, mom multiply 3, the number we just wrote down, times 3, our divisor, equals 9. Sister subtract, 11 minus 9. To zoom out, my long division is getting very long. 11 minus 9 equals 2. Okay, now we come to an interesting place because all of our place value slots are used up. We have a number in the ones place, tens, hundreds, thousands. So because of this, I know that this number is going to be a remainder, or maybe if I was doing fractions, it would become a mixed number, but that's not what we're doing today. We're going back to the basics. So 2 is a remainder, but first let's check it. Let's do the cat compare. Is 2 less than 3? Yes, so it can be a remainder. We're okay. Remember when we're writing our remainder, we do a nice little capital R, remainder 2. And of course, there's nothing left for brother bring down. When you've run out of numbers for brother to bring down, you also know that you've reached the end of the problem, other than making sure you record your remainder. A common mistake that fourth graders do on these is that they forget to write their remainder up here. When you do that, you're actually writing the incorrect answer because you're not giving the full amount of information from the problem. All right, good luck, guys.